Introducing a phenomenal young driver whose story transcends the tracks from the sunny speedways of Florida to the frozen trails of Alaska. Beyond the thrill of the track, Lacy is a leading advocate for diabetes awareness and uses her platform in racing to spread awareness of diabetes symptoms to save lives. Today, she's here to share her incredible journey, challenges, and the passion that propelled her into saying yes to racing in one of the toughest competitions in the world. Please welcome Lacy Kuehl to the stage.
Hi guys, good morning. How's it going? All right, so I heard you guys have been keeping up with the Iditarod. Well, myself, I'm a junior musher and I'm a race car driver. So today we're going to be talking about how I became a junior musher and my racing career. So 2014, the start of it all. 2014 is when I started racing in go-karts. I raced go-karts for 6 years. I've been racing legend cars for about 5 now, so I've been racing for 11 years. This is a picture from my first ever go-kart win. So from the start of it all, this is my little brother Rocco. He unfortunately passed away from type 1 diabetes at the age of 1. They said he had the flu and to go home 2 times, and the doctors unfortunately misdiagnosed him and he ended up passing away. 8 hours later they checked his blood sugar and he was at 478 and he went to diabetic coma, and unfortunately he's not here with us. So we ended up starting a foundation called Drive for Diabetes Awareness. This is why I race all over the country, even while I was in the junior musher, to help spread the symptoms of diabetes. So moving forward, we're going to talk about my achievements in motorsports. In 2017, I got the Perseverance Award from my local go-kart track. And then the next year, I also came 3rd in the championship at Florida Dirt Motor Speedway. This is the first ever year we were even running in points. We didn't really try. They said for us to come to the very last race, and we ended up getting 3rd in points. We've never ran for points in our whole entire life. And then in 2019, I was inducted into the NASCAR Drive for Diversity program, and I also received the NASCAR Young Racer Award, which is for off-track events and being aspiring to the community. Then I also got, oh sorry, I accidentally skipped it. I got an award for Ambassador to Humanity and Racing. Then in 2022, I was inducted into the Villages Motorsports Hall of Fame in the state of Florida. I also, in 2022, finished 5th place in the Atlanta Motor Speedway Legend Car All-Star Race. That was a very prestigious race with all classes of legend cars, and I ended up finishing 5th after all of our adversity at Atlanta Motor Speedway that year. And then in 2023, that's when I officially became a junior musher. I also race for diabetic ketoacidosis survivors. I've raced for, here we have Oakley and we also have Braden. We bring these families out to the racetrack, try to show them that we support them, try to help them with their diabetes as well. We just make these kids feel loved and at home, and just give them and their family an amazing time to keep their minds off stuff and show them that they do have support in the diabetic community. So there's a picture of me and Oakley walking at 417 Southern Speedway. We also have a picture of me and Braden and his whole family with my bodyguard Kyle, and that is from Citrus County Speedway. I have raced for over 5 diabetic ketoacidosis survivors throughout the year. I don't have an exact number on that. So this is how I started racing in Alaska. Here are some pictures from when I got invited by the Torque Memorial Foundation and Tyron Torkelson to come up and race at Alaska Raceway Park in a legend car, which is an oval asphalt racetrack. This is my first ever time in Alaska, and we actually met Tyron on Facebook. And we were like, oh my gosh, that track is absolutely beautiful with the mountain in the background. And me and my dad were like, well, what if we went up there? What if we brought the legend car out there and we would drive like 4,000 miles with a trailer and go out there and go race? So what we ended up doing was putting out a Facebook post talking about Alaska Raceway Park, and we were invited by the people racing there. We had the Boemers put together a car for me. We also have Tyron Torkelson working on the car. We have Doug Sheldon, a bunch of amazing people in Alaska put this together, and I ended up flying up and racing in a car that they wrapped exactly like my original race car here in Florida. So here's a picture of us giving out merch to the kids. We also have a picture of me and Tyron in the top left. And in the very middle picture, you can kind of see the mountain, but it's a little too tall. So this is where it all started. We ended up getting rained out that year that we went. We tried to race 2 weekends in a row. It was August, it's the rainy season. So what we ended up doing was going out to Nick Petit's dog Sled. He's a fellow racer and competitor at Alaska Raceway Park. And he's like, well, we can just go mushing. And I'm like, what's mushing? What do I need to do? I've never heard of this in my life. I maybe watched a movie or two, but it's never really crossed my mind. So what ended up happening was we met all the dogs. I was at the kennel for 3 days, helping out Nick, feed the dogs, picking up poop. And the first ever time I was there, I ended up getting a ride on our cart. Now this was an absolutely phenomenal time in the dry for dryland mushing. The dogs go a lot faster. We had like 14 dogs pulling us on this cart, and the dogs were so happy to be out there. They absolutely love what they do. Here's our little water pond that they normally go to in the tour. If you guys want to experience this for yourself, you can go to Alaska Dog Sled. And then here's another video that Nick took at that water pool.
Here's your dog name. That's Shuby. Hi, Shuby. Shuby and hot sauce hanging out with Emma. Hi, Emma. And then this one is Mustard. This is Minnie. That's bandsaw. This is hollandaise sauce and her daddy's Joey. This is Hunter. There's Barb. Hi, Barb. Susie. And hey, Astro. 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 Hi, Astro. This is Robert. That's Silver. Hi, Mark. Hi, Silver. Mark. What the heck? Mark. Hi, Silver. You really should get out. Unless I expected. There's you guys, and I'm Nick. Hold on, I got one.
So that video was absolutely amazing. That's one of my favorite videos from going to Alaska, just seeing the dogs so happy and Nick showing them what they really love. Later on that night, we ended up going to dinner with Nick, and he invited me to run the Junior Iditarod. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. I've never seen snow before, Nick. What are you trying to get me into? And he's like, well, I've always wanted a junior musher. I never got to run the Junior Iditarod myself, and I would love to have you race one of my teams and go out there and have fun with the dogs. And I'm like, I don't know, I'll have to think about it. So I ended up going to the kennel for those 3 days, and at the very end, I'm like, yeah, I'll do it.
Around January
10th or 15th, I landed in Alaska, seen snow for the first time in my life, and I went to the kennel, and we started our training the day after. We trained every day straight, basically, picking up poop, feeding the dogs, learning the dogs, being on the trail. Time on the trail is super important. And the fundamentals that I had to learn were completely different from what I'm used to with racing cars. Normally in the car, I'm super hot, it's 100 degrees. Over there, it's the complete opposite. I was in a completely different environment, learning something else. So learning the dogs and how they work together, their body language, and just their personalities is the key to mushing and having connection with them as well. So those are just some of the things that I learned in the time of me being a junior musher. Especially being on trail, I would run them 50 miles a day. We would also go camping with the dogs, trying to get them prepared for this race, because these dogs are also preparing. I'm preparing, and we're trying to build this team of Mackie dogs and Nick Petit dogs together for this race. So I also handled for Nick at a couple of races. This bottom left picture right here, this is of Minnie and Shuby. This was right before the Iditarod. This was after Iditarod start. I handled for him there for the inaugural start and for the start in Willow. Then also at the very top, that is White Sauce. He's very cute, only white dog in the kennel. And this was me handling for Nick at another race. White Sauce, unfortunately, was a little bit dehydrated. He just couldn't keep down any food. So we ended up taking him to the trailer, and while I was handling for Nick, I was also taking care of White Sauce during the race. I was running on very little sleep there, but we were pulling through. But yeah, this shows I love this picture. This shows my absolute love for the dogs. I'm just petting and loving on Astro there. So next thing you know, we end up making it to race day. This picture shows me and Nick high-fiving here at the very start of the Junior Iditarod race. This picture has been fundamental with me. I absolutely love it. So my preparation for this race and what I was thinking, the night before I ended up preparing, getting everything in my sled. I had my dog coats, I had my dog food for me, I had my canisters, I had water, I had hay, I had extra of everything, extra socks, everything that I needed for what I was doing. At the start, I was very calm. I wasn't really nervous. I was treating it as if it was a regular race car race. So that's where I've learned to be calm and focused, because if you're not calm and focused, you're going to make mistakes and there's going to be problems on the trail, just like in a race car. So moving forward, my time on the trail during the race. So I had a couple of things happen. So at the beginning of the race, within like 15 miles, there's this hill for the actual Iditarod trail that we were running on. And we had about 2 to 3 inches of snow fall before the race. And I ended up getting stuck on this hill. So I had a fellow junior musher behind me, and he ended up helping me get my dog team up because we couldn't get ourselves up. I had extra weight in my sled so that I could take a break, which I'll speak later, and give the dog some rest. But I couldn't get him up. So he ended up helping me push my sled and the dog team up this hill. And then along the way, he ended up falling a little bit behind me, and I was by myself for a couple of miles. And then I ended up catching up to McKenna, which I ended up making a friend on the trail. She was awesome. She was with me until I took my rest for 2.5 hours, and we were just talking and stuff. And it's really good to have somebody on the trail with you so that you can really take your mind not off of what you're doing, but move the time faster. And then the darkness. After I took my 2.5 hour rest, I ended up going out and it started to get dark. So I had my headlamp, and all you see in the darkness is just snow and trees and the trail markers, and you're trying to find your way around, and it can really mess with your mind. It's really mental out there. And then we ended up making it to the Yetna Station Roadhouse, which was our mandatory stop. We had to be there for 10 hours. That's where you feed your dogs, make your fire so you can cook your food for the dogs, give your dogs some hay so they can get some rest, change out their booties, and you can even sleep yourself. So I ended up getting about 5 to 6 hours of sleep that night. But I'm going to continue on why I had trouble on the river. So what happened and why did I end up scratching? So I ended up being dehydrated. I passed out on the river 2 miles after leaving the Yetna station. I was passed out for about a minute, I think. I don't know exactly how long. All I know is I woke up somewhere else I wasn't before. It was about -20 on the river that morning with the river fog. So it was super cold, conditions I've never been in. Even training, it wasn't that cold. So it was a completely different environment. And when I passed out and I woke up, I ended up trying to get my team to turn around. And what happened was my team turned around perfectly. I had Shuby and Bandsaw, my 2 leaders. They turned around directly on the trail. They listened to everything I said, and we ended up going back to the Yetna station. Normally, after leaving a checkpoint, your dogs are super excited. They have all the rest they need, and they want to keep going. They will not go back to where they just came from. They just don't want to. They want to keep running. But they listened to me perfectly. And coming back into the Yetna Station Roadhouse, I ended up passing out again, and I was brought into the station, and then I scratched there, and I was taken off on a prop plane of the river, and I flew back to the start point with my dog Goldie, because I didn't want him being ran, because he had a little bit of a foot problem at the time. But then my team was ran back to the last checkpoint, and we picked them up and took them back to the kennel. So that is why I scratched. I needed to drink more water. I was dehydrated even from before the race. So drink more water, people. So then what happened was we had the ceremony at the very end, and we ended up receiving the Blue Harness Award. So Shuby and Bandsaw here, they got the award for being the most prestigious lead dogs of the race by helping save my life. So right here in the middle, you have a picture of Bandsaw wearing the blue harness. I would have put it on Shuby, but Shuby's a little bigger and it didn't fit him. But these dogs are absolutely amazing. I love them with my whole life, and I might not be here today if it wasn't for them. So continuing forward, during my training, we also had puppies. So we had a litter of puppies from the Mackey side. It was an unexpected pregnancy. So we had 6 little babies. They were all cute. They were like little nuggets. And Mobe had the puppies. So with one of those puppies, I ended up taking that puppy home. And that puppy is named Shooby-Doo. Shooby is named after Shooby, the lead dog that saved my life. And she's absolutely adorable. I love her. She's my baby. This is her in a little diaper. And then we have her at the racetrack at the top right. This is her when she was a little baby, when she came back to Florida. And that's her in Alaska before we got to bring her home and before I left. So I would just like to thank everybody that made this possible. I'd like to thank the Torque Memorial Foundation. I'd like to thank Digital Brothers Creative Studios, Drive for Diabetes Awareness, Hestis and Family, the Dillard family, the Jansen Funeral Homes. I'd like to thank 49th Eagle PCS, Operations Children First, even Team Petit. It wouldn't have been possible without Team Petit and Nick and the Alaska Dogstead. Then we also have the Green Zebra Cafe.